Hi, everyone. My name is Angie. I am here with New Ventures BC, and it is my 26th annual New Ventures BC competition presented by Innovate BC. So hard to believe it's been 26 years. So today, first I want to acknowledge we are situated on the ancestral unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples. Particularly here, the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. And even on a rainy day, the view here is wonderful. So thank you. Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna move on to that first. But first, I'll just say, agenda for today, I will do a bit of housekeeping, as I like to do. And we'll tell you a little bit about the competition if you aren't aware of it yet. And then what we'll do is bring Fernanda Whitaker from Innovate BC here, and she'll bring on three and a little bit about the competition experience. And then we're back to networking. So this will take about 30 minutes. Then the New Ventures BC is a nonprofit organization. And we were just counting the numbers. This is the 18th year Innovate BC has been the title sponsor for this competition. So we're very grateful for the long-standing partnership. Our gold sponsors, EY, M2M Tech Connect, and Fasken. And of course, Fasken is hosting us here tonight as well. So thank you for that. And Jeff is somewhere here in the room. There's Jeff from Fasken. Reach out to him if you need a lawyer, I guess. So Silver, RBCX, SFU Beauty School, Vantech Angel Network, and a whole bunch of wonderful bronze media sponsors. I think I see Convergence, Matthew, Mary in the room. I think I saw Matt, another Matthew from Backstretch here as well. So lots of great community members, and they're all here to support early stage companies. So please, thank you for being part of it. Okay, also just another bit of housekeeping. If you got a name badge on the way in, I think you chose between a green dot and a blue dot. So if you didn't read the sign, no judgment. Just reiterating, green is startups, blue is ecosystem. So it could be a mentor, organization supporting. So if you're a green dot, you can look for other green dots or you can look for other blue dots, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, so quick about the competition. So we are BC's largest, longest running tech competition. It's 4 rounds. We start in March, we'll end in September. There is, thanks to our wonderful sponsors, particularly Innovate BC, $250,000 in cash and prizes. But our hope is always that you're here along for the journey. So we're already underway our weekly education series. We have networking events like this. And we also, throughout the competition, give you the opportunity to get feedback from jury members and mentors. So the hope is, as you enter the competition, you will gain something in the form of feedback, connection, interesting co-founders. There's all sorts of different stories that I've learned over the years. So hopefully, we're hoping you get value no matter what. And of course, the prizes are great, but I'm a very realistic person, so I never like to oversell. I always say we have 200 companies enter and we have 6 prizes. So may the best company win, but also we want to make sure you're getting value no matter what. We did do an info session last week. So for more details, you're welcome to reach out to me while I'm here or anyone wearing one of these New Ventures BC name badges. But you can also watch the info session online later if you have questions. Oh, Floyd, we did want to just give a quick note about the volunteers, the jury, the mentors, why this competition is so valuable. So Floyd Simons is our mentor jury wrangler. He wants to talk about that.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see both a lot of familiar faces and new faces, and you're all chatting together. It's great. Really quick announcement here. So yeah, one of the key things that the competition offers to companies that join are the pretty significantly sized network of experts associated with it that volunteer their time and help these companies. We have over 450 of them now that are active in one capacity or another, all marked in great detail with keywords to maximize relevance of matching down the line in the competition and for any other requests that might come through the process. These are really, we're kind of lucky. We can really pick from the best. So I note them down as BC's Titans and everyone is an investor in one type of way or another. Lots of subject matter technical experts as well. There's a ton of them, really. This is pretty much consistently ranked as the #1 value provided to companies by their feedback. So it's a cool part, basically. If you know people that would want to volunteer in this space as well, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or through the application form on the New Ventures BC website. I am particularly looking for, right now anyway, for a few more people in AI technology, like sort of a technical expert, infrastructure, dual use defense type thing, and ed tech, in case, that jogs some ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on. Okay, so that's my general overview. Want to make sure you hear from not just me, though, from the companies that have actually been through the process. So for the balance of the time, moderating the panel is Fernanda Whitaker, Director of Partnerships from Innovate BC. And I think Fernanda will introduce the panel from here. So Fernanda, come on up.
Hi, hello everyone. Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm with Innovate BC. I hope you all know Innovate BC. If you don't, we're a Crown agency. We support tech entrepreneurs. We work with partners such as New Ventures BC to support entrepreneurship and innovation in the province. So let's get started. So let me just hope I can see without my glasses, but so can I invite Chirag from, I need my glasses. Oh, great, perfect. From peer support, Samuel Berryman with ImageCyte and Alisa Sigen. Anywhere. Thank you all. Great, thank you. So just before we start, I just want to kind of a show of hands, how many founders in the room? Ooh, wow, amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Really just want to acknowledge and respect you guys so much. There's so much courage and determination that goes. It's not easy to start a business, so congrats. And I really want to kind of pick the brains of our panel and all participants with a competition. So can we start by just introducing yourselves and telling a little bit about the company and what was the main problem or challenge that you were trying to solve when you got started?
I'm in the middle. Why am I going first? Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Alisa. I'm the CEO of Sigen AI. Sigen AI came about around 2 years ago. The problem that we were solving was video, access to video specifically. This is a world of data. Data is needed everywhere, from startups to people just consuming it in general. As a startup, we had a requirement to get a bunch of data, video specifically, to train our models. That was impossible with all the regulations out there. The laws, the privacy was restricting us from doing so. So we thought, well, we could make this work by making video private by default, by creating a new video format. Just like MP4, we are creating a video format where privacy is going to be built in. So it's been about 2 years. We are working towards our goal. We got our first clients. We were here in the competition last year. And yeah, it's been a pretty fun process so far.
My name is Chirag. Thank you for having me. Our company, we've built this AI browser for doctors. The problem is that doctors today roughly spend roughly half of their time on paperwork on their screens, clicking, and it's a mess if you just look at their screens. And we were thinking, what if the doctor could just ask the software to do things like fill up prescription instead of go through that nightmare on their screens, just go completely hands-free. Was the vision early on. Went through a lot of pilots. I started the company 6 years ago. The founder origin story is that back then I was a civil servant in the Yukon government. I was also trying to wrap up my school at UBC at the same time. Around that time, one of the people who raised me, my grandmother, she passed away. Her doctor missed something important in her file, and that led to a complication. And that made me want to quit my job, start the company. And now it's been coming to 6 years and 3 months now in March. Thanks for having me again.
Hello, I'm Sam Berryman, CEO and co-founder of ImageCyte Technologies. I started this company long before I actually knew that I did. And that is because during my PhD, I was working on single-cell drug screening using AI. And that's what I thought I wanted to do with my life. I was going to go work for a pharmaceutical company who was going to pay me lots of money to do AI. Who doesn't want to do that? During that process, we ran into a problem, and the problem was just separating samples when you're trying to do your machine learning. And a lot of the AI people in the room will probably understand the problem of segmentation. We kind of came up with this solution of making a hardware device that was able to do that. So instead of trying to do everything in software, we just changed the experiment. Several years later, I am not an AI engineer. I am now the CEO of a production company where we try to make things, or at least mass produce them, moving towards that.
This is a good example of the competition, the diversity of competition. So you see three companies very different, solving real world challenges, but in very diverse sectors. So it's one of the reasons why we at Innovate BC, we love the competition. We continue to support. So the range is, so you were kind of from 2 to 6 years old. Could you kind of remember on your first years, because I've talked to some ventures here, some founders that are just getting started. So could you remember like the biggest challenges you faced when you started your business on the first few years, first year, second year?
For me, it was, I remember making cold calls, like a lot of cold calls to just get our first customer. Lots of people just didn't pick up the phone. One did, Susan Dobson. She runs this hospital in Toronto. Back then, I didn't have a product, just this thing that this happened. I don't want this to happen to someone else. And just focusing on that burnout issue. I mean, I remember looking at my pitch decks from back then when we were doing the prep call earlier. I was doing the E at UBC program. I see ecosystem people are here. All my decks to customers were all about burnout that doctors face. So that was really my in to get our first customer, just looking at the burnout issue that doctors were facing. And this was also like context, it was COVID. And just those times were quite tough on the healthcare system. Landed our first customer, packed up my bags, moved to Toronto for, I think 2 years I was there, from 2022 through 2024, just running pilots. And I think reflecting back, I would do a lot of things differently. I didn't take a lot of lessons from my EIRs on running a proper process on product development. I learned a lot about sales from my EIR back then, Tom Urban. I don't know if he's here, but I learned everything about sales from him. And that I still carry with me. But I just discounted everything on the product development front. I got beat around quite a bit around getting the right product. A lot of pilots failed if I just had the KPIs right, for example. So just running that method right, and also procurement for me was Susan. She was our champion. She signed off on like $1,000 a month pilots, and I was living on my credit card. Toronto is expensive, but yeah, just failed a lot, learned a lot in the process, learned a lot about procurement. Today I'm in a suit today because today is just procurement heavy day. I've been I've been up since 5 o'clock. Toronto is 3 hours ahead, and it's just painful procurement. If anybody is selling to healthcare hospitals, it's a pain. But yeah, just learned a lot during those days. Procurement is still a pain, but I enjoy talking to doctors. That's the best part of my job. Still to this day.
Customer discovery and all that.
I don't like customer discovery much in procurement, but user discovery, yes, I'll talk to doctors. That's something I love.
Alisa?
Thank you. You will probably hear this a lot, but don't fall in love with your solution. When you build something, be prepared to change it. That was the mistake that we first discovered. So one of our first customer interviews was with Procter & Gamble. In the retail space, we were talking about how they need analytics in their stores on shelves. So we created a demo for them, we created a video. Using that video, we applied to Techstars. Techstars is the second biggest program for startups in the world. They take you places. We got accepted. All with this one retail video. So literally 4 months after the company came to be, here we are in Techstars, learning things, talking to people, all with this idea that since we got in with retail, that's our market that we should be aiming for. Our solution is going to be built for all of these retailers. That was a mistake. We spent like 6 or 7 months trying to get into this one market when we should have been doing more research and exploring more. We got overconfident, fell in love with our solution, and did not change our main lesson.
Okay, I have 2 things to say. The first one is that if you're a student starting a company, graduate and then start your company. Don't start your company and then graduate. That was a grind. The second thing is the word startup is thrown around a lot. And if you're an early company and you're in this room, this is the perfect room to be in because this is a fantastic competition. There are other competitions out there in our ecosystem. In our first year, we thought, hey, we're a startup, we're going to go and do these. Well, I got up on stage and I pitched, and then the person after me came up on stage and they pitched. I was a pre-seed company with an idea. Isn't this a great technology? They came on and talked about their 10 million in revenue. Definitely not the same kind of startup company. So understand where you're going, what you're doing, and what the right timeline is.
Great. So if we can shift to your growth trajectory or how you like your journey growing your ventures. Have you explored export or international markets? What was your experience doing accessing new markets outside of Canada?
We landed our first US customer, I think middle of NVBC, roughly June of 2025 while we were in the competition. By that point, we had 4 Canadian customers, hospitals, health authorities, and the thing that got us in was just warm relationships, introductions. And I know the Trade Commission Service in Canada, like they've been quite active in building these commissions to take companies abroad, and they're quite good. Like we are accessing their services, and they've been inviting us to their programming for free, and also paying for flight tickets and everything. So I would definitely leverage that. We have not leveraged it so far yet, and they don't have a lot of programming for going to the US, which makes sense. But for South Korea, for example, I think that's a service that's coming up soon. But for us, it was just a warm introduction that led to our customer in North Carolina, and the results from our Canadian customers and their referrals and their feedback and everything made a huge difference. And then that led to our second customer in the US.
Yeah, I just want to get this hook and just mention, because I used to be a trade commissioner, so Global Affairs Canada, and there's so many services out there for to help you guys to find new markets, and there's never been a better time to explore markets outside of BC and Canada. So yes, so Global Affairs Canada, the Trade Commissioner Service. Also here in the province, there's a Trade and Invest BC. They also have representatives abroad, and also Export Navigators, another great program to help companies get export ready. So, and you don't pay anything for those services. You're already actually paying through your taxes. So yeah, I recommend you take advantage of those.
I guess I'll jump in. Yeah, so we currently have our beta release of our first product out, and we have a physical product we have to ship out. We are in 9 countries right now, all 3 in North America, several in Europe and Australia. Got an email for a 10th yesterday, so might send something to Japan, we'll see. Lessons learned from that. I feel like this is a lesson from right now. It used to be that the United States was a big, fantastic market, and that is an amazing place to go and launch your first product into. I have to pay attention to the news because every single time something happens at customs, they don't know how to handle packages, and it adds another week or 2 to delays getting across the border. In many ways, it's a lot easier for me to ship something to a European client in a beta stage and work with them on sort of development, next stage, et cetera, rather than trying to jump into the things because they're in a different time zone.
For us, it's a slightly different story. So first of all, we started off with a Techstars ecosystem right at our fingertips. This was all American based, so it was the Techstars Anywhere program. So we went to San Diego, San Francisco, New York, talked to a bunch of people there, got the connections there. And then we realized that with the regulations, we should focus on Canada first, on developing things within Canada to make life easier on ourselves. And then if we want to go out to our countries, we would partner with our companies who are actually trademarked there, who will have no problems with crossing those borders. So for us, it's a lot more partnerships and selling our tech through people who are already established, who have a reputation, and we don't have to go to a new country and be like, hey, we're a startup from Canada. So a completely different strategy from you guys, but yeah, that's how we're doing things.
Especially with all the regulations, right, that you
Yes.
have to observe in each one of those
Yeah,
markets.
because we are very regulations focused, different privacy laws in Canada versus USA versus Europe. So because we're such a small team, we decided to focus in first instead of trying to spread ourselves too thin.
What about raising capital? What different approaches you've taken? And if you can add maybe what was the metric or traction signal that you think made a difference in your conversations with investors?
Our financing progression from due date of starting the company, first 4 years bootstrapped, revenues which were close to nothing, debt from me. We did Next Canada program in Toronto in 2022. They invested 16,000. So like it was just mostly just me and my savings for the first 4 years, no team. And then our 5th pilot in Toronto, it started showing muscle, like the KPIs, like the stress on doctors going down, the time spent on screen versus time spent with patients went up. And based on that, and also we landed a pilot with Kids Help Phone. So that was like a flashy logo of credibility. And I went back to the Yukon. Funny story. That's how I met Pat Lore at Panache. Patrick. He was at this cafe in town, just I don't know doing what, and in the middle of nowhere, and and I was in town just seeing like my friends and my people in the Yukon, and talking about like yeah, this amazing pilot. That's how we got introduced with Panache. At that time, I was not thinking about raising. I didn't want to raise. My mindset was again giving props to Tom again. Like he's been a big influence for me as a mentor, and just thinking about what the investor is thinking about prospects, the return, and where we are today, which is like just a pilot that succeeded and metrics and there's some promise but really like no like a little bit of MRR like sub 50 grand sorry that's ARR back then 2024 but then Pat was like it would make sense to de-risk a little bit for me and take in some external cash and we went back and forth that summer of 2024 and Panache invested 200 grand in 2024. I reached out to my friends that I went to UBC with, three of them engineers. That was that use of that 200 grand to just this product. We had other like it was like a suite of pilots that we did and just figuring things out from a product perspective and commercializing it into like outside of a pilot to a sustainable contract. So that was 2024. Also going from one customer to our second, third, fourth customer was 2025. Just a lot of like focusing on growth. And till this point, also we were just a team of four, three engineers and one me doing sales mostly. For and always cash flow positive since that first investment from Panache. Also, like back then we were break even doing 21,000 in, 20,000 out when Panache invested. So always been cash flow positive. Looking at the growth, they offered to like if you know Pat, he'll every time you meet him, he'll say raise more, which is good. He comes from a nice place. But to me, I didn't feel like we needed the extra cash, and just the fundraising process eats up time for like I didn't want to block 2 weeks in my calendar just to talk about money with investors. But then we funny thing during the competition we released a product to our customers, kept it completely stealth to media, to NVBC. Nobody knew about the browser back then. We were still Spotlight, which was just in a nutshell, it only automated referral forms. The browser does everything like prescription, referral forms, note taking, everything that a doctor does on their screen. Spotlight was our thing for NVBC, the first investment from Panache. But it was just a combination of things towards the end of 2025 with the success on the browser product, our commercial success with 6 customers, and the growth that we saw, and our ACV, the contract value with each customer also went up quite a bit. That's what led to our second financing with Panache and Angels too. After the NVBC competition was over, I kept in touch with 2 judges. Some of them are in the room. They invested in our recent financing too. And yeah, they're mentors too. Pat has also been a great mentor.
That's awesome. Thank you.
For us, we're still a relatively young company, so we cannot completed a round. It's because a lot of investors want to see the clients, we want to see the money. That's unavoidable. So for us, the focus right now is the clients, it's getting those pilots, it's getting those grants from a government to be able to do those pilots. So first, before you talk to investors, remember that there is a whole ecosystem outside of the investors that will give you credibility as well. So again, accelerators and grants are going to be your friends. That's going to get your foot in the door. Even with competition, it's 6 months long. You're going to meet so many people that can introduce you to somebody. So that's what our advantage was when talking to investors. Somebody could usually introduce us to somebody because we had Techstars behind us, we had the title of top 10 in NVBC behind us, we had the title of being in CDL behind us. So just a lot of things you can do if you don't have sales to be able to still have something to talk about to investors. Street cred. It's all street cred in the end.
So we are also a pre-raised company. We have focused on building up traction as much as possible, almost to the point where it starts to get crazy. Our plan for fundraising is to go to investors when they look at us and tell us we're crazy because we didn't do it yet. And that's just what the market is today. Realistically for us though, we're a production and product company. So this is not just hiring a team and trying to, get some people in a room together to work on what needs to be worked on. We have a minimum capital requirement in order to get us to the next stage and to supply our pharmaceutical clients. So lining up milestones for us, it requires a little bit more capital. We will be launching our raise very quickly here, and we're going to be at VanTech tomorrow for those in the crowd.
Just before we open for we will open for questions, right? Yeah. So just before we open for questions, I want to kind of some of you mentioned already your participation at a competition, your Ventures BC competition. I just wanted to kind of touch on the key points. Why did you apply, and what was kind of the single most valuable takeaway for each one of you from participating in the competition?
I'll go first this time. So for us, yes, the prize money is always nice, but more than that, it was the networking. Because it's very rare that you get an event that lasts months. Usually it's just one night of pitching and then you walk away with a prize, which is fun, but it's not very memorable and not very useful if you want to build connections. Connections are the main thing, I'm gonna say. So talk to the people. You're gonna be able to interact with mentors, with other startups. You're gonna learn a lot. Just take advantage of these 6 months. And with write-ups, what you're gonna be doing, you need them anyways. Like the data room documents that you're gonna be putting together eventually, it's very similar. So this is not homework. This is not exactly something extra. It's stuff that's gonna be good for you to accomplish and use and reflect on yourself. You're going to be talking to different investors. And this is a very friendly space. Like, nobody's going to eat you alive if you're going to make a mistake. There is this sort of awareness that there's all different types of startups here, and they're all here to learn from each other. And same thing with investors. I think they see that this is a space where it's not just about saying yes or no, it's about growth.
I agree with that 100%. For me, it was pretty much that, just getting out of my shell and meeting new people. That was really fun. And the judges were great. I really enjoyed my favorite highlight was if you make it to top 10, they'll invite you to this boardroom in Fasken, maybe. They do it this year too. And the judges are there, 10, 15 of them. And just, I think my presentation was mid. It was not that great. But the Q&A was amazing. Like, they had such good questions, and I did a demo of the product, and so many great. I love when people are asking about the doctor's experience and yeah, there were some people with health tech background, so it was just a beautiful experience. The Q&A was great.
Yeah, I would say it's putting you up on a soapbox so people can see you and you can network. We have a lot of connections we got out of it. It was absolutely worth it, transformed our company. But not only that, it was also the working with the team and building our story as well as the business development. I remember there was one point in the competition where we were in a meeting, sort of reviewing documents and going over stuff. And one of my advisors was just sitting there and just went, this is real. There's a real opportunity here. And I was sitting there going, well, yes, that's why I'm here. So it really got everybody together pushing in the right direction. And it was kind of a leveling up experience, if you will. You know, you kind of get these throughout the startup journey when you hit some milestone and you feel like you're now at that next level. Yeah.
Oh, we do questions. Yeah, anyone?
Early challenges or successes in building your team, either co-founders or employees. Every startup has a rocky road, usually, or some interesting.
I take back what I said earlier about procurement being the part of the job I hate. It's management it's the part of the job I really don't like. I've made a lot of mistakes with Julian. I don't think I've shared this with you, but I used to have a co-founder. We worked together on the project for 3 years on like a previous life of the company, and like I think it was not even incorporated, like it was just pilot projects, and made a lot of mistakes. Also, I was like 20. I'm just turning 26 in the next 3 months, and I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot about interpersonal relationships, and now managing the team also. For me, it's more about managing my own psychology, I think, about how I present myself to the team. And it's the pressure is on. I mean, they're relying on me. They've got their mortgage, their rent, their payments, and showing up for a company that's still relatively new. The team has grown to 8 people now. We'll cross 10 by the end of this quarter. So every time I see them, there's anxiety that they're like, it's just the pressure. Managing my own psychology has been the biggest thing with the team. With the co-founder dynamic, just a lot of silly mistakes I'm still young, but when I was younger.
Anyone else?
I was going to speak to that. I think, yes, no. I can also yell. Okay. You need to do is hire yourself before you hire anybody else. And by that, I mean, you need to figure out where your shortcomings are, what you need to learn, and what, your own knowledge needs to become over the next year, or how you're going to fill that gap. And one of the best ways to actually figure that out is by finding your first 1 or 2 advisors and bringing them on early to make sure that those mistakes don't get made as early as they usually do. Because there is a considerable amount to learn when you're going, say, from a technical to becoming a company or anything along the lines of that.
I also recommend therapy. Or just managing relationships. The feedback is good.
Just one more. I think Michelle, you have a
For us, I want to say get into the community a bit earlier. So we did a lot of networking a bit later on as all the write-ups were being due, as all the rounds were we were going through rounds, and we were more and more certain that yes, we are going to make it to the end. Like, we lost out on meeting so many people just because we decided to put off our efforts and just, yeah, we could have used a lot more help in the very beginning. We could have talked to a lot more people. Instead, I think the second round, we just did it in one day with the submission. We just submitted it. We did not talk to anybody. We just decided that, yeah, this is going to be like a little last minute homework assignment. Do not do that. Try and talk to our people. If you're friends with somebody from a different startup, be like, yo, can you look over my submission maybe? Do things like that instead of just YOLOing through it.
Leveraging the resources and the network, right?
What would I do differently? I honestly don't know. We put an incredible amount of work into our applications. We worked very closely with our advisors. I had a lot of advisors through my company. So when we got our mentors with New Ventures BC, I feel like we started getting a crowded room, but that was fantastic because the more feedback you get, the better. Nothing to add.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you're doing. Can I have a round of applause?
Thank you, everyone, for coming, taking some time and speaking. And as you can see, different sectors, different stages, different trajectories in terms of traction. So yeah, you're good. Thank you. So hopefully if our company is thinking about entering, it gives you an idea of things. That said, if you want to enter, deadline is March 12th. QR code takes you to the page if you want more info, but we're here to answer any questions between now and then. Otherwise, just want to say thank you to the New Ventures team for making tonight happen. And I've lots of my boards of directors here as well. Thank you to them as well. And otherwise, everyone, have a good time. We're here till 7. Good night.